The hero's journey through literature, a timeless struggle. Heroes do not begin as warriors, rulers, or seekers of wisdom. They begin as ordinary men, living their lives before fate intervenes. One does not choose to become a hero, the world chooses for them. And when that moment arrives, there is only one question: do you rise, or do you fall? Throughout history, human civilization has been shaped by the stories of heroes. It is the story of struggle, resilience, and triumph. Heroes are not born in comfort, they are forged in adversity. Their fate is not chosen, it is thrust upon them. Their courage is not easy, they must display strength beyond measure. Through pain, hardship, and sacrifice, they emerge stronger. Their struggle allows a transformation which prepares them to face the challenges ahead. Some heroes fight for home, others for legacy, and some seek redemption. Their battles are different, but their spirit is the same. They endure, they press forward, and they triumph over the forces that seek to break them. Today, we journey through 3 of the greatest epic tales ever told. These stories reveal the depths of human struggle, where fate challenges the spirit, where suffering reshapes identity, and where darkness gives way to triumph. We'll highlight major scenes from each of the epic tales, including summary and analysis. Odysseus, the warrior who must endure endless trials to reclaim his home. Aeneas, the leader who must sacrifice everything to build a new world. Dante, the lost poet who must descend into darkness to find salvation. Each hero faces obstacles beyond imagining, yet their strength, wisdom, and perseverance allow them to triumph. As we step into their stories, ask yourself, what defines a hero? What does struggle teach us? And how do we find light beyond the darkness? The Odyssey, the warrior's endurance, a hero's battle for home. Homer's The Odyssey is an epic poem that follows Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, on his long and perilous journey home after the Trojan War. His voyage, which takes 10 years, is filled with obstacles, mythical creatures, divine interventions, and personal trials. Odysseus faces storms sent by Poseidon, encounters the deadly Cyclops Polyphemus, resists the enchanting Sirens, and navigates the treacherous halls of Circe and Calypso, all while struggling to return home to his wife, Penelope, and son, Telemachus. Upon reaching Ithaca, Odysseus must reclaim his throne, defeating the suitors who have overtaken his palace, proving that his wisdom, perseverance, and cunning make him worthy of his homecoming. Tell me, Muse, of the man of many devices, who wandered far and wide after he had sacked Troy's sacred city and suffered many troubles upon the sea. Book 1, Odysseus stands upon the shores of Troy, watching the city burn. He has won, the war is over. But wars do not truly end, they merely lead to the next battle. Odysseus turns his eyes toward the sea. Home waits for him, or so he believes. Little does he know, the gods have other plans. The call to struggle, the road is unknown, the path unclear, yet footsteps mark where fate appears. A voice whispers, step forward, rise, a world unfolds before your eyes. When have you believed that the hardest part of life was over, only to find a new challenge waiting? If fate suddenly changed your path, how would you respond? Do struggles shape us, or do we shape ourselves through struggles? Odysseus does not simply want to return home, he needs to. Ithaca is more than a place, it is who he is, his very identity. His journey home is a battle against fate itself. Odysseus, the warrior of Troy, is a man of great skill, but he is at the mercy of the gods. The gods are against him, the sea is endless, and his fate is uncertain. Does he surrender? No. Because a warrior never breaks under the weight of the storm. Odysseus faces the unknown. Odysseus sets sail from Troy, victorious but unknowing of the trials ahead. Storms, monsters, and the wrath of the gods stand between him and his home, Ithaca. But he does not surrender. The Wrath of Poseidon, Book 5, Odysseus lost at sea. Odysseus, cast into the open sea, watches as the waves rise against him. Poseidon, enraged, sends storm after storm, testing his will to survive. Hope is never lost, so long as one fights to hold on. He clings to his raft, fights against the violent waters, and defies the will of the gods. If a hero accepts defeat, the sea will swallow him whole. But if he fights, he lives to see another day. Odysseus refuses to surrender. The Temptation to Forget, Book 9, The Land of the Lotus Eaters. Those who ate the honeyed plant lost all desire to return home. They wished only to stay and forget their troubles. Odysseus watches as his men begin to lose themselves, seduced by the sweet allure of forgetting. They wish for peace without effort, relief without struggle. How often do we wish to forget our struggles? How often do we seek comfort rather than persistence? It is tempting to fade into comfort, to let the mind drift, to accept peace without struggle. But forgetting is not living. Heroes must choose to remember, choose to fight, choose to endure, for if they forget their purpose, they are lost forever. A hero knows that the fight is not yet over. Odysseus is a warrior. He knows that greatness comes from pressing forward, from facing hardship head-on. He forces his men to remember who they are, to return to the ship, to continue the journey home. A man who is willing to fight through storms will live to see the light again. One of the most famous scenes from the Odyssey comes from Book 9, where Odysseus confronts Polyphemus the Cyclops and uses his cunning to escape. It showcases Odysseus' wit, arrogance, and daring, as well as the dangerous consequences of hubris. His need to reveal his identity leads to Poseidon's wrath, extending his journey home. Odysseus confronts his own strength. The Battle Within, Book 12, The Siren's Song. No man has ever heard the voices of the sirens and lived to tell the tale. Odysseus knows that temptation is dangerous. He ties himself to his ship, ordering his men not to untie him, no matter how much he begs. He ties himself to the ship, begs for release, but his men do not listen. Even heroes must protect themselves from their own weakness. The Return Home, Book 21. At last, after years of wandering, Odysseus returns to Ithaca, only to find his home filled with traitors, suitors who have sought to steal his throne and his wife. But he does not reveal himself. Patience is a warrior's weapon. He waits. He watches. He strikes. He lifts the bow only he can string, and fires the first arrow. And with that, justice begins. The heart of a warrior never wavers. Even in exile, even in darkness, he waits for his time to strike. The Aeneid, a hero's duty and destiny. Virgil's The Aeneid is an epic poem that tells the story of Aeneas, a Trojan prince who, after the fall of Troy, embarks on a journey to found Rome. Guided by prophecy and the gods, he faces exile, war, loss, and personal sacrifice, ultimately fulfilling his destiny. Aeneas and his surviving Trojans travel across the Mediterranean, encountering storms sent by Juno, the temptations of Queen Dido of Carthage, and a journey into the underworld, where he learns his future role as the founder of Rome. Upon arriving in Italy, Aeneas wages war against local rulers, culminating in his final battle against Turnus, solidifying his role as the destined leader of a new civilization. I sing of warfare and a man at war, who first from the Trojan shore to Italy came exiled, much tossed about on land and sea, by force of heaven's hate. Book 1. What does it mean to carry the weight of others? To fight for a people, knowing that you may never see the reward? Aeneas does not battle for himself, he fights for the future, for Rome, for those yet to be born. Rome will exist, but only if he endures. Aeneas faces his fate, Book 6, The Underworld. As Aeneas enters the underworld, he is confronted by the spirits of the fallen, including his father. The weight of his destiny grows heavier, and he wonders, is all this suffering worth it? Your task, Roman, is to rule the world. To bring peace through strength, to show mercy to the conquered, and to crush the proud. Aeneas is not meant to be ordinary. He is chosen to build a new world, but the cost is immense. Is destiny cruel? Is it merciful? He does not know. But he presses forward, because it is his duty. Destiny demands sacrifice. Rome will rise, but Aeneas must endure pain, exile, and loss to ensure its birth. He sees the future, the glory of Rome, but he also understands, his path will be one of suffering, exile, and sacrifice. Can he bear it? Will he surrender? No. He will rise, because destiny demands courage. One of the most famous passages from the Aeneid comes from Book 6. Aeneas descends into the underworld and encounters the shade of his father, Anchises, who reveals Rome's glorious future. Others will forge bronze into statues that breathe, or carve lifelike images from marble. Others will chart the movements of the heavens and predict the rising stars. But you, Roman, remember this: your task is to rule the world. To bring peace through strength, to show mercy to the conquered, and to crush the proud. Aeneas stood silent, the words sinking deep. He understood now, his journey was not about himself. It was about the future of a civilization, one that would endure beyond his lifetime. Rome would rise, but only if he endured. Heroes do not live for themselves. They live for something greater. The Rage of Battle, Book 12, The Final Fight. Aeneas stands before his enemy, Turnus. This is the last battle, the final test. Turnus pleads for mercy, but Aeneas remembers his fallen comrades, the suffering he has endured, the weight of his people upon his shoulders. And he delivers the final blow. Victory is never given. It is taken. Victory is never easy, but heroes do what must be done. Aeneas has won. He has fulfilled his fate. But as he stands over his fallen enemy, he realizes, war leaves no true victors. Only survivors. A hero does not see the fruits of his labor, but he ensures that others will. Rome will rise, because Aeneas endured. Heroes do not seek war, but when battle comes, they do not hesitate. The Divine Comedy, A Journey Through Darkness. Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy is a three-part epic poem following Dante's journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise. Guided first by the Roman poet Virgil, then by his idealized love Beatrice, Dante experiences visions of sin, redemption, and divine grace, ultimately achieving spiritual enlightenment. The journey reflects his personal transformation, moving from darkness and sin to purification and enlightenment. Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself within a forest dark, for the straightforward pathway had been lost. Inferno, Canto 1. Dante does not seek the darkness, but he must pass through it. Unlike Odysseus and Aeneas, Dante's battle is not with enemies, it is with himself. He has lost his way. He has fallen into doubt, despair, and sin. He must descend into hell itself to confront his own failures. One of the most famous passages from the Divine Comedy comes from Inferno, Canto 1, where Dante finds himself lost in a dark forest, symbolizing his spiritual confusion and despair before his journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise begins. Dante stood among twisted trees, their gnarled branches clawing at the sky like specters. Shadows pooled beneath them, swallowing the earth in an unnatural gloom. He did not know how he had arrived, only that the road he had once followed had vanished, leaving him adrift in uncertainty. Fear gripped his heart. He tried to move, but the tangled undergrowth resisted, pulling at his limbs like whispering hands. He was lost, not just in body, but in soul. Then, at the edge of the wilderness, he glimpsed a mountain bathed in golden light, promising salvation. His heart surged with hope, but when he stepped toward it, three dreadful beasts blocked his way. First, a leopard, then, a lion, last, a she-wolf. Despair threatened to consume him. He could not pass, could not reach the light beyond. He staggered backward, his strength failing. But just as hope seemed lost, a shadow emerged from the depths. It was Virgil, the great poet of Rome, his figure calm, his voice steady. "Turn back," he said, "for this path you cannot take alone. But I will guide you, first through the depths of hell, then upward to redemption." And so began Dante's journey, one that would lead him through the horrors of sin, the trials of purification, and the revelation of divine grace. This opening moment sets the stage for Dante's spiritual transformation. The dark forest represents confusion and sin, the three beasts symbolize obstacles to redemption, and Virgil's arrival signifies guidance through wisdom and reason. Virgil's guidance, Inferno, Canto 1. Fear not, for I was sent to lead you. You must pass through this night, and only then shall you see the stars. A light appears. Not a salvation, a guide. The poet Virgil stands before Dante, offering guidance, wisdom, and protection. The path ahead is not easy. Dante will see the depths of despair, will hear the cries of the damned, will confront his own fears. But he must endure. Because beyond this suffering, beyond this terror, awaits salvation. To reach redemption, he must confront the horrors of hell, face his deepest fears, and endure the weight of his past mistakes. Virgil does not remove Dante's fear, he shows him that he must walk through it. Heroes do not escape hardship, they endure it. Dante's final triumph, Paradiso, Canto 33. After his long and brutal passage through hell, after his trials in purgatory, after his ascent into paradise, Dante sees the light. The love that moves the sun and other stars. He is changed. No longer afraid, no longer lost. The journey has been long, but it was necessary. Because without darkness, how can one understand light? Dante's ascension through suffering. The weight of sin, Inferno, Canto 34. The way is long and hard, but the light is near. Dante emerges from hell, weary, changed, and ready to climb toward redemption. Dante leaves hell, stronger than before. Even in the deepest despair, there is a way forward. Conclusion, the hero's eternal lesson. Heroes fight against fate. Heroes suffer under injustice. Heroes rise despite endless hardship. Final reflection, what makes a hero? Heroes suffer. Heroes endure. Heroes triumph. Heroes are defined by how they rise after they fall. Now ask yourself, what will you fight for? Odysseus fought for home. Aeneas fought for destiny. Dante fought to escape despair. They did not seek struggle, but heroes confront struggle. And through it, they became something greater. Suffering and struggle transforms a hero, not into what they expected to become, but into what they must become. Odysseus faces Poseidon's wrath, barely surviving but growing wiser. Aeneas finally accepts his duty, prepares for war. Dante realizes he must keep moving forward, regardless of fear. These epics, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, and the Divine Comedy, have profoundly shaped Western literature, philosophy, and storytelling, influencing countless works across time. Here's a deeper analysis of their legacy and impact. Homer's The Odyssey is often regarded as the foundation of the hero's journey, a structure that has shaped narratives across centuries. Its themes of perseverance, identity, and homecoming continue to resonate in literature and film. Virgil's Aeneid mirrors Odysseus' struggles through Aeneas, showing how Homer's work laid the foundation for Roman epic poetry. Dante's Divine Comedy reflects Homer's narrative style, particularly in its guided journey through obstacles and transformation. James Joyce's Ulysses reinterprets Odysseus' journey through a modern lens, proving the story's adaptability. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings reflects the Odyssey structure, with Frodo's long journey home from war echoing Odysseus' struggle. Oh brother, where art thou? 2000, the film by the Coen brothers directly adapts the Odyssey, portraying Ulysses Everett McGill's journey through America's deep south with modernized versions of the Cyclops, sirens, and obstacles to homecoming. Interstellar, 2014, reflects Odysseus' story, with Cooper's space voyage echoing the hero's struggle to reunite with his daughter, despite time, cosmic forces, and the immense sacrifices required. Heroes don't take an easy path, the hero is forged through trials. Their greatest battles come not from the enemies they fight, but from the struggles that shape them. Heroes do not quit when facing trials, they do not stop when facing defeat. Alexander the Great leaves Macedonia with a vision, yet facing immense struggles. Julius Caesar crosses the Rubicon, he chooses to step beyond the point of no return. Nelson Mandela in prison, his suffering shaping his identity, rather than destroying it. The Wright brothers experienced failures before their first flight. Abraham Lincoln suffered years of political defeats before he reshaped America. Winston Churchill and the Allies refused to surrender to the Axis, defending the values of freedom against tyranny. Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Victor Hugo, Les Miserables. So ask yourself, what will you fight for? What challenges will shape you? How will you rise? Dante stands before the gates of hell, each soul a reflection of human weakness. Where darkness lingers, wisdom grows. Through fire, through storm, a hero knows that only those who walk the night can find their way back to the light. Your story is being written. Your trials and darkness reveal the light. Struggle reveals the path. The hero in you is waiting to be forged. Through trial, the hero within you will arrive. The world remembers those who endured. Not those who avoided struggle, but those who walked through it. The question is, do you rise, or do you fall?